by workers in the second-hand clothing trade. Initiated by the Kantamanto Women's Association, the move is part of broader efforts to strengthen unity among women in the business and encourage regular exercise as part of a healthy lifestyle while celebrating women's contribution to Ghana's economy.
Kantamanto women form the backbone of one of the largest second-hand clothing markets in West Africa, processing millions of garments weekly as traders, tailors, and head porters. On a daily basis, many of these traders undertake labor-intensive jobs, including carrying bales of clothing weighing up to about 120 pounds. Despite their contribution to trade and commerce, the women face significant challenges, including market fires and the environmental impact of large quantities of low-quality clothing imports that often end up as waste. Participants began the work at Afrikiko restaurant along Liberation Road and moved through some principal streets within Accra's central business district before ending at Adabraka. Vice President of the Kantamanto Women's Association, Mary Sarkodie, said the initiative was to ensure women actively participate in activities marking International Women's Day while reminding the public of the vital role they play in sustaining the economy.
We are women, and as women, we can't just stay and just look that today is International Women's Day, and so that is it. We want to get involved, want to advertise ourselves. We want the whole world to know that yes, Kantamanto deals with women, and without women, there is no Kantamanto. And then for the economy to go on, it all depends on women. And Kantamanto stands tall when it comes to trade, when it comes to commerce, when it comes to business. You can't leave Kantamanto out of anything.
Some of the Kantamanto women who participated in the work also highlighted the need to celebrate the achievements of women while addressing the difficulties they encounter in their daily economic activities.
Today is Women's Day, but then I think women are not being celebrated enough, especially when it comes to Kantamanto. Women, when we come together, we have a lot to do for ourselves. We are not going to sit there to wait for someone to come and do it for us. We want to do it ourselves, because when we come together, whilst we are doing all these things with love and unity, we can go far.
International Women's Day is celebrated annually across the world to recognize the social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women, as well as advocate for gender equality.
As we celebrate International Women's Day, we are shining a spotlight on the women who are the backbone of Ghana's food economy, the market queens. They are the connector, the negotiator, and the driving force that brings fresh produce from farms to your table. Long before the sun rises, these women are up, sourcing, transporting, and selling, ensuring our communities are fed. Let's hear from some women who are the heartbeat of Ghana's market.
Yene hwe yen kola wo fie ente e da pa mma omu no mu hwe fie omu no mu hwe kurom omu no mu ye bibia me ma de emfa no ba ku pe
One he was a fie je celebrate wo e ya wa de wo ku osia wo ku ogbege bi ti ni it is in ba wo ni wo ku osia.
People are going to Dubai to bring things. Some people too from Saudi, like Togo. Some people are bringing some of the dresses to come and sell. But and those who are selling onions and these tomatoes, they go to Burkina and bring it. So it's okay. Like, we are trying our best. We are doing something.
The way they have to appreciate us, you know. It doesn't go like that. You see a lot of women suffering, going up and down. I mean, they are especially broken home. So how we suffered, you know. I think, is it our husbands or who's supposed to celebrate us? They don't celebrate us.
They should work hard for themselves. They should work hard and stop depending on people's
The Association of Women in Media, ASWIM, has celebrated International Women's Day as a timely reminder that supporting women is an act of intentional multiplication. The give to gain mindset underscores the fact that when we give generously, whether through resources, visibility, or mentorship, we expand opportunities for women, and when women thrive, the entire nation rises with them. In a statement released and signed by President of ASWIM, Mrs. Mavis Kitcher, it recognized that womanhood is synonymous with a perpetual spring of wisdom and strength. As the African proverb suggests, a woman is a flower in a garden, her fragrance is her gift to all. ASWIM paid a special tribute to the women in media who sacrificed their comfort and safety to be the conscience of the nation. According to the statement, women in the media navigate demanding newsrooms while balancing heavy and paid care work, braving systemic barriers and digital harassments to ensure the truth is told. Their sacrifice is a national service that ensures our democracy remains vibrant, the statement ended. On the heels of Ghana's affirmative action, that is Gender Equity Act 2024, passed last July, assented in December, and calling for at least 30% female representation in decision-making roles by 2026, on the road to parity by 2034, the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection launched the country's national gender policy. Unveiled at a national conference marking International Women's Day, the policy resets the compass, a public pledge to translate the law into lived rights, justice and equal opportunity for women and girls across government and the private sector.
Under the banner Rights, Justice, Action for All Women and Girls, government officials, development partners and civil society gathered to take stock and to reset the agenda on gender equality. The Minister for Gender, Children and Social Protection, Dr. Namu Mulati, called the new national gender policy a bold step toward dismantling the systemic inequalities that still kept the lives of women and girls across Ghana.
The reset agenda prioritizes the full implementation and enforcement of key gender-responsive laws and frameworks such as the Domestic Violence Act, the Affirmative Action Act, and the National Gender Policy to promote gender equality, eliminate discrimination, and increase women's participation in leadership and decision-making at all levels.
Women make up 51.2% of Ghana's population, yet hold just 13.8% of parliamentary seats, fewer than 30% of ministerial, Council of State and agency board posts, and only 4.1% of elected assembly members in the 2023 local polls. Against that gap, Australia's High Commissioner to Ghana, Bernice Owens-Jones, reaffirmed Canberra's support for the country's gender equality drive, highlighting the urgency of the new policy push.
That investing in women's leadership is not only the right thing to do, but it's very much the smart thing to do. It is essential for women's growth, for effective governance, and for resilient societies.
The new national gender policy now sets the compass for government action, sharpening institutions and interventions that affect women and girls in every region. Its reach in concrete, appointment and leadership roles across public offices, governance bodies and decision-making seats in multiple sectors must bend toward equity.
The Industrial and Commercial Workers Union has urged the public and private organizations to factor the natural conditions of women in corporate policies and welfare packages for workers. The head of Gender and Youth Desk of the ICU Ghana, Esna Mpoku, said natural stages in a woman's life, such as menstruation, maternity, and menopause, are often overlooked in workplace policies and discussions due to stigmatization and discrimination.
Despite several advocacies to promote gender equality and rights at workplaces, women in the corporate world continue to face stigmatization and discrimination due to natural conditions such as menstruation and maternity. At a ceremony to mark International Women's Day, organized by the Industrial and Commercial Workers Union, ICU Ghana, the topic received prominence, with speaker after speaker advocating better policies to address all forms of discrimination against working women. The head of Gender and Youth Desk at the ICU, Esinam Poku, said it is high time trade union leaders engaged with management of the organizations to adopt policies that will address the natural rights of women at workplaces.
Menopause, which affects many experienced women in the workplaces, also requires understanding, support, and policies that promote dignity and well-being at work. Addressing these issues is not simply a women issue, it is a workplace justice issue.
The General Secretary of the ICU Ghana, Morgan Ayawini, urged women to stand up for themselves and adopt a strategic approach in claiming their rightful places in business, industry, academia, technology, and science. The theme, Rights, Justice, and Action for All Women, trumpeted the message that achieving gender equality requires more than words. It must be premised on commitment, fairness, and concrete action.
President John Mahama is to embark on a 5-day working visit to South Korea from March 10 to March 14 as part of efforts to deepen bilateral cooperation between the two countries, according to a statement released by the Government Communications Minister, Mr. Felix Kwachio Fosu. The president will depart Accra on Sunday for the trip. During the visit, President Mahama is expected to hold bilateral discussions with the president of South Korea, Lee Jae-myung, aimed at strengthening diplomatic and economic relations. He will also meet the Speaker of the Korean National Assembly, Woo Won-sik, and is expected to participate in a ship naming ceremony at the Hyundai Heavy Industrial Shipyard in Ulsan as part of his itinerary. Mr. Mahama is also scheduled to deliver an address at a conferment ceremony at Yonsei University. The visit will also include an engagement with members of the Ghanaian community living, studying, and working in South Korea, as well as a dinner meeting with chief executives and business leaders to explore investment and trade opportunities between the two countries. Still in news, the paramount chief of Nzema traditional area, King Kaku Aka, has urged the government to consider the contribution of his traditional area to the resource of the country to give Nzemas their fair share of the national cake in development, jobs, and government appointments. The chief urged all traditional leaders and youth groups in Nzema land to end divisions and speak with one voice to propel the development of the area. King Kaku Aka made the call at a press conference at his palace at Amiaso in the Western region.
Their traditional leader and his subjects raised the concern that the Nzema area has been left out on development projects such as road networks, higher education, healthcare facilities, jobs and employment for the teeming youth. In the energy sector, concerns were of alleged lack of representation for the Western region in key energy sector agencies, including the Ghana National Petroleum Corporation, GNPC, and Ghana Gas. King Kaku Aka appealed to President John Mahama for the development of the area to leave a lasting legacy for the people, since Nzema and the Western region contribute significantly to the national economy.
I am very certain that the big push agenda which the president has already undertaken, the Nzema will form part of that particular big push. If it is not part of the big push, I am today, on behalf of all Nzemas, appealing to the president of this republic, President Mahama, that from Samenye to Avulion, this is an important motor road that if you succeed in constructing for the people of Nzema land, the Nzemas will forever be happy.
King Kakuaka cited Ankobra, Jura, and other areas which have seen heavy destruction to illegal mining activities for particular attention.
Nobody in Ghana is going to eat gold. We all need, because it is very necessary for the progress of this country. But that notwithstanding, we need also to pay a critical or careful attention to our water bodies. Our water bodies are gradually drying up. Those which are not drying up, they are completely polluted. Those poor people living in those areas, in the Jura and in the Lembe area, they can't even find water to drink. Those who can afford to buy sachet water, they are always left at the mercy of such terrible water bodies.
The push for inclusion comes alongside broader ongoing discussions about regional equity in the distribution of national development resources across the country.
Our Heritage Month series. Heritage Month church services gaining traction in many Ghanaian churches across the country and beyond. At the Calvary Baptist Church in Accra, the gospel is not complete without dwelling in a cultural setting. Adorned in traditional clothing, congregants and guests were treated to everything Ghanaian. Nuto Bibini Nuto with this report.
From the entrance of the church, through the pews to the pulpit, the entire Calvary Baptist Church in Accra was draped in traditional clothing with a hint of the national colors. The young and old put on the best from their wardrobes to make a statement, all in celebrating Ghana's heritage in the month of March. Everything, literally everything, was local. The message of the gospel was read and rendered in the Ghana dialect, interpreted in Ewe. Being the tradition for 10 years in a row, the heritage service, known as Calvary Goes Traditional, brought together chiefs and queen mothers who were thankful that the church is celebrating heritage in Christ. As the rule on such an auspicious day, all spoke local dialects.
Christ in our culture. Yes, we can think many when he Ghana. If I akplan, le fatidechi. If I akpa tilapia bunu if I kun. No, insani Christophe. Amenye gbo ake amayosake Ghana for mobijo.
I feel you must saw ne. You are both famous. I invite to my new Camanchame. Me, I you are. When I feel what they want you more, 1 year say. You are young, quality. Your son was Talono. Can you be pen of your fair way and quality?
Won wo ni bi ni ka wo no achafu ko te agbogblosho te bi oba na ni mama dweleshi ni achafu she energy quality e wo won kai wo bi ake won traditional mama no je papa ni mene no ni wo ke chon ake wo ji lumwe ni wo ke nja wo ngbo.
The flaunt of traditional wares ended up in a family day of fun as both congregants and visiting royals interacted on the ways to imbue cultural values such as humility, respect for the elderly, and patriotism in the younger generation as Ghana grows grey at 69. Unto Bibini Unto, GBC News, Accra.
Repellent, highly recommended by Ministry of Health, CHAS and GES, lab tested by Noguchi Medical, field trialed by Atomic Energy Commission. It has no chemical or side effects and is good for all ages and skin type. MedShea is available nationwide. Contact us on 0244892413. This advert is approved by
Mrs. Papa. Sophia, I know. Mrs. This about my little in a traffic. The friend Angel Rock is a limited young about Mrs. Gavin and say, a drink with the pub. Angel Rock Mr. Regina Labon. If I think some Angel Rock Mr. Angel Rock Mr. When I'm Mrs. White to me for Angel Rock Mr. Angel Rock Mr. Rock me. If I'm a man now, want to work, oh, doctor, one time money by one if you do what and says I appear for no, me or bar, Roma, a Cordano for MD, I get the Incatuatu.
MedShay, Natural Ministry of Health, CHAS and GES, lab tested by Noguchi Medical, field trialed by Atomic Energy Commission. It has no chemical or side effects and is good for all ages and skin type. MedShay is available nationwide. Contact us on 0244892413. This advert is approved by FDA.
Welcome back now to some international news. Guinea's government has dissolved 40 political parties, including 3 of the country's main opposition groups, in a decree. The parties were dissolved for failing to meet their legal and administrative obligations under the country's political party regulations. The decision strips the affected parties of their legal status and places their assets under government supervision, while a court-appointed curator oversees the transfer process, though the government have not yet provided details on the final destination of the party's assets once the transfer process is completed. Officials say the measure is part of an effort to enforce compliance with national laws governing political organizations. Well, that's it for News Hour, brought to you on GBC News. Up next is Talking Point with Maurice Obuti. Happy International Women's Day to every woman out there. Do you have a good evening?
In 1965, Ghana chose her own value. From cowries and pounds, the city was born, our pride in our own hands. It flowed through markets, palms, and memories, and became part of daily life. Through every season of change, the city has remained a constant in Ghanaian life. In 2007, we took a bold step, ushering in a new era of confidence and stability. Today, the city lives in banks, markets, and apps, rooted in tradition, shaped by history, carried by innovation. 60 years on, it remains our heritage, our identity, our pride. Know the city. Keep it clean.
Meet the women who inspire us with their strength, resilience, and determination. Women's Voice celebrates the unsung heroines, sharing stories of emotional, intellectual, and mental fortitude. Join us as we amplify the voices of women who shape society with power, grace, wisdom, and hope, empowering girls and women alike. We are live every Monday at 4 p.m. on GBC News, Wednesdays live at 4 p.m. on GBC News, and a repeat on Saturday at 4 p.m. on GBC News, and Sundays at 3 p.m. on GBC News. Women's Voice, your voice, your strength. No one can make you inferior without your consent.
It's the national discourse, where expert voices and critical minds rise to discuss all matters socio-political under the Ghanaian skies. From Accra to Zabila, Atimpuku to Zabzulu, we'll show you how to diagnose misinformation from disinformation in order to arrive at the right information. The national discourse, discussions deep, perspectives diverse, and debate punchy. From the streets to the halls of power, we vow to keep you informed. Tune into the National Discourse on GBC News at 3:05 p.m. to 4 p.m. Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. With your host, Daryl Allen Tago. The National Discourse. Together, we'll shape the future. The National Discourse, the heartbeat of the nation. The National Discourse. What are the real issues?